So we're pulling out of Gailton. Is that how it's pronounced? Gailton, or is it Gallatin? I don't know.
I don't know. I was calling it Gailton, so we're...
And we're taking a different way to hook onto the CPAT, crossing the river right here. After a little bit of rain at daybreak, packed some wet gear, and now we're trying to avoid more weather that's going to be more prevalent to the north, so we're heading south. Hopefully we'll get out of it. Beautiful campground we stayed at last night. Looked brand new. Crooked Creek Campground. Apparently on Crooked Creek, and we camped right on the creek. Almost had the campground to ourselves.
I was really worried about us having to stay overnight another night and hunker down. This is much better to get going.
Yeah, with the rain moved out to 3 o'clock, I feel much better.
Yeah. Really didn't want to have to feel like I was going to sit in a tent all day.
There's some rain.
I was going to say, there's a raindrop. All this stuff covering my face and I get a raindrop on my lip. How does that happen?
Well, you're hydrated now.
I guess so.
Right turn and a half mile.
Okay.
Getting into some trees so we can stay out of this rain.
That might help,
bit.
yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
The day without rain and it wouldn't be Pennsylvania.
Well, there's truth. The day without rain. Can't imagine it. But I also have no desire to live in Arizona to avoid the rain either.
Doesn't look good up there.
No, it looks pretty wet.
It looks better
geez.
to the left. I don't know if we want to... If I find a place to hunker down under a tree or something,
Yeah, you might need to for a little bit here. That looks heavy. How about these trees right ahead?
Well, yeah.
Not a good enough spot?
No,
okay.
not really,
Keep going.
no.
Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know how wet my phone can get before it starts acting flaky.
Spazzing. That's really pelting the rain too.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's heavy. Great, the one time we're not in the woods. Ouch.
It always does that before we put our rain gear on. You ever notice?
True. Yep. It's okay. At this point, rain gear's not going to do much good. We're like in the land where there's no trees suddenly.
Yeah. There's a right turn up here by this big tree. I might just duck under this big tree if it has enough cover.
We'll see.
Looks like it's right at a driveway though. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Oh. Yeah.
Maybe if are we turning there?
Yeah.
Off to the right I see trees.
Do you? All right.
Yeah.
Alright.
Wouldn't be an adventure without rain, right? And discomfort.
Yeah, there's some trees.
I'm going right up under those trees.
Alright.
Yeah, I don't know that this is doing me much good.
little bit wet here. I also have my visor's also wet on both the inside and the outside, so I can't use it. A mile and a half we turn right. This would have been a good place to stop right here. This is really covered. Give your radio a whack with your...
What's that?
Give your radio a whack, knock the...
There? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Needed to shake some water out, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some more sheep. Whoop, and a horse.
Yeah.
Baby Percheron.
Dang it.
Ew. You there? Holy cow. That was awful. We're good. We have no radio communication right now because they're being really whacked. Apparently they don't like the rain. So we're just gonna go. See if we can get dried out a little bit more. Oops, this looks really deep. Oh yeah. Lots of gravel there. Thick gravel. Okay, let's see if we can dry out a bit now. The electronics definitely didn't like the rain.
So the forecast told us the rain would come at 3 o'clock. And it's now, what, 11:30? And we've already had it. We had, and that was the storm that they predicted would come in at 3 o'clock. I don't know how the forecast could be that far off. And I also don't know how we could have such blind faith in a forecast that we know could be that far off. So we're wet, but it's warm. I can still ride barehanded and not get chilled. And we know that all of our gear is in dry bags that have not gotten wet. So we know we have a dry change of clothes whenever we want it.
It is a beautiful ride though. No complaints, even with the wet.
Our intercom system has gotten wet and squeals when we try to use it. So now we don't have any direct communications. So we'll let it dry out. It'll probably be okay. It's happened before. That's what we get for buying these cheap Chinese radios, but they've been good to us for about 4 years now. I was going to bring a spare set because they're so cheap you can afford to just keep spare ones around. When they work really well. This is a wonderful road. I love this road.
These little bikes just are amazing bikes, I'll tell ya. They eat up terrain like it's nothing. So I just started riding, got my first motorcycle when I turned 50. In another week I'm going to be 55, so just had bikes a few years. When I was younger I rode with my mom, but I never had my own bike all those years. Fell in love with this TW the first time I sat on it and rode it around the yard from the place we got it. Like, that's the bike for me. I can ride anywhere on that bike, but I mostly love dirt and gravel and back roads. Not really a highway rider. I'd rather see these back ways any day.
All the different smells after a rain like this is just incredible. You can smell all the vegetation, all the earthy smells. It's invigorating.
Oh, there's a something interesting. Oh, that was deep. That water went up over the top of my boots. Well, they were wet before, but now they're even more wet on the left. Lovely. It's all good. Just didn't expect that hole to be quite that deep. It still seems like it had to have been some old railroad grade more than a road. Who knows? There's a creek down there. It's a cool area. Ugh. Made it! I went through one puddle back there, didn't realize it was that deep. Clear up and into my boot. Yes. Oh, there was that one weird little bridge, and there was actually an old marker there, historical marker.
I know. I saw the interpretive panel.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, oh, I want to see what it said.
Should have stopped.
Almost feels like an old rail line. Well, the radios are still not working. They apparently don't like the rain and the wet. So I'll just follow along. I know we have 7 miles on this new stretch, so that's going to be fun. We're in the Susquehanna Forest, and this is something called the Hammersley Wilderness Area or something like that. I'll have to look again. I'm not quite sure of the name. But we got 7 miles on this quite awesome stretch. I do like these kind of roads, I'll tell you. They're great. It said no four-wheelers on this road, but licensed vehicles are okay, so off we go. That's the beauty of the TW, is we can go off trail and on the roads anywhere we need to go. Total win. Beautiful area. Nice creek down there. Just beautiful. I feel very blessed to be able to be out here and enjoying all this. I think more people need to walk away from their TVs and the news and all the dramas and just get out and enjoy the world the way it should be. What a gorgeous section. Got some more switchbacks here. definitely looks pretty. He must be enjoying it too. The mist is all pretty. The mist is all pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get a shot of you.
Okay.
Can you turn around and come back?
Oops.
Oh.
That was not the intended activity. That was not the intended outcome. Gorgeous. I mean, it's misty, foggy. I'm soaking wet from head to toe, but it's absolutely beautiful. Also, lots of lightning right there going on.
Oh, really?
Check the weather, but I thought, hey, look at this view. Then I'll get a picture of you.
We're at the Jameson Run Vista, as you can see, and we have thunder that's looming very close, so we're going to try to find a place to hunker down, maybe put the tarp up.
Woo! Yeah, let's get off the top. That was really close. Okay, dear Lord, just keep us safe. Get us off the hilltop a little bit here. Gosh, maybe we should have gone the other direction away from it. I don't know. kind of out in the middle of nothing out here. And no radio service between us even. Hey, let's go right here. Back here? Could duck under that.
We found a gate that we could back our bikes up to and attach a tarp, and we got under it just in the nick of time. It took 2 hours for the storm to pass, so we settled in and ate a light lunch. At least we had enough of a signal to check the weather radar. There was another storm behind this one, but it looked like the gap between the two might give us enough time to ride out of the forest and find a dry place to stay for the night.
Okay, I'm recording again. We are back on from our little hole in the wall for a couple hours of thunderstorms. See if we can get down to a campground and a cabin. Time to rock and roll. Lots of mud now. We're gonna go see if we can find a cabin for the night. Maybe get some layers dried out. Sounds kind of nice right now. I think I have 3 layers deep that are soaking wet. It is gorgeous riding. No complaints here. Just the rain needs to quit. Whoa, babe. Think I'll go around that one. A little more slippery now than it was earlier too.
Look out.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm like... I didn't even go near it. Yeah, that's the problem. You get these little slick edges. I'll just be going a little slower than you, I think. Really don't want to put it down in mud.
slogged along for another couple hours, hoping to beat the next storm. Getting out of the forest was taking way longer than we expected. We found ourselves on what was probably the most challenging section of the entire trip. It was a long, steady hill climb with a thick layer of slick gray mud. It was like riding through partially frozen slush, and our bikes were constantly slipping out from under us. But we made it to the top without incident.
Okay, it's firm at the top.
We had found an available cabin at the Hemlock Campground in Austin online while we waited out the storm. And right now all we could think about was stripping out of our soaking wet gear and drying out by a fire. But we didn't beat the next storm. As we emerged from the forest, as our GoPro batteries died, buckets of rain poured down on us. We rode through ponds of water that were forming on washed out roads, and by the time we arrived at the campground, we were more than happy to end the day. Our cabin was quite rustic, but it had a heater, and that's all we cared about. This is the only picture we got, but inside we lined up chairs in front of the heater and spread out all of our wet clothes to dry. We pulled out the tent, still wet from the previous camp, and spread it out on the porch to dry overnight. Our fine feathered welcoming committee was just tickled with the weather. Our only casualties from the day were a broken GoPro helmet mount and a fried GoPro battery charger that shorted out during the hardest rains. So off to bed to dream of the dry day ahead of us tomorrow.
One more cold drink, one more roll, one more dance before the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old. We don't need plans or a fancy agenda. Well, let's just see where it goes. We got no care for the way people stare at the dust in the